happened in that particular scene.
To be honest, you don't seem like a communicator. I'm gonna be honest.
I am.
You know what you give me? You give me, if you don't like something, you linger on it. You don't tell somebody right away. It has to be something to trigger you to say it. And then you finally wind up and say.
I think she's very strict. She's one of those people that, she has her way of seeing it and it is that way. And there's nothing that anybody can say to change her mind. And that's just a very, it's a difficult way to be. It works in, maybe in her job and that function. You have to, be very strict. You have to adhere to guidelines. You have to do things a very particular way. You have to be very regimented. But in real life, when you're dealing with other people, you're not assessing a crime scene or you're not assessing who started a fire. You're talking to somebody. So as much as you may have your own opinion, you have to give them a chance to also share theirs and talk to you. And she created a whole narrative about Hussein. It's like, where did you look that up? Like, did you just put all those things together? You really haven't spent a whole lot of time with him. So how are you putting together that he's somebody that's not a good communicator, how he's somebody that just lingers on things and doesn't really express himself or takes a long time to to say if something's bothering him? Like, and then she wants to fight with him about him, like that. I guess that's something about that annoys me, and a lot of people do that. Funny that we just talked about some of the comments in the panel. People like to tell you about you. It's like, how you gonna tell me about me? You gonna create a whole narrative about me and you don't know me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think Deonna definitely did that. And then she dug in. She didn't even say, "Oh, hey, listen, this is kind of an observation I made from seeing you. What do you think?" She just went in and she just kept going with her narrative and she wouldn't let up on it. And then she had this whole conversation about how her job is more important. And when she's at work, don't expect to hear from her. It's like, all right, just tell him you hate him. Just tell him you don't like him because none of that stuff is inviting. None of that stuff speaks to, I want to get to know you. It's telling me everything that you're not going to do. So that kind of stuff, yeah, I don't think she's in this process for the right reasons. She may think she's farther along than she really is, but she's coming off as somebody that's very guarded, and a little bit difficult to communicate with.
No, definitely hear that as well. Yeah, it's a shame, and I mean, I think she just needed to just chill a little bit and allow the conversation to flow a little bit. But she has a way of emasculating men. I think that's also, just with the Cam situation, this situation. Even you're right, Jay. Even before we even got to that place, it was on the horse. My girl was talking about how you should be on a little horse. You're good to go. Like stuff like that is just like maybe she has spent a little bit too much time with the men, the firemen, because that's how men joke around with other men, not with women, with other men. You don't joke that way when you are dealing with the opposite sex. There are certain jokes that you need to stay away from, especially when you don't have a baseline for them. Just because it can create tension, it can create pain, it can be a trigger for someone. You just got to stay clear of those kind of things when you're first dating someone. But I think she has, and that's why the conversation came up about her role and her job. She takes it very seriously, and I believe that she has had to probably fight to be established as a black woman in that space, that she is of equal footing as those men, which it's probably been a hard, arduous fight for her. You know what I'm saying to you? So I can give her some grace, but she needs to learn that even if I give you grace, when you go out in the dating world, people are not going to give you grace. They do not know your story. They don't want to know your story if that's what they're going to encounter from you when they first kind of meet you. It just turns people off. You know what I mean? Like I thought the camp part was bad, but she went further along this one. After sizing her brother up with her hand, she went one step further and said, "Listen, you should be on a Shetland pony. That's what you need to be on." That's what she basically said. Yes, Jay.
It's funny because it's given that she's looking for a loud masculine type when honestly she needs a silent masculine type that's similar. I'm not going to say Hussein because I don't know his personality for sure, but it's similar to how he presents himself, because you want to be at peace when you get home. You want to just be chill when you get home. You don't want to come home to a loud masculine type, because a loud masculine type gonna argue back with you. That's when we start getting into the toxic masculinity, and you're already fighting. If you're already fighting so much at work to find your space and your place, you don't want to do that at home. So you want somebody who is just chill, that understands you, let you be you, and know that you're a boss at work, but still can let you come home and be the lady and the queen, and just rest. What they say, passenger princess at home. You know, and she got to learn how to relinquish some of that right too. You got to step back. She might want to hang with Rose a little bit because Rose knows how to kind of like step back and let a man just go ahead and say what he got to say, and then respectfully be like, okay, you just not my man. You just not my man. You know what I'm saying? I do that sometimes. I like me a strong lead because I'm a protector type for myself already in my family. So it's like I need somebody that I know could protect me. So that means I got to fall back and see if you can. And you don't have to make judgments out loud. It's just like, okay, this person might not be that person I need. So let me just go ahead and just cut this off right now. We cut this down to a friendship or whatever and stuff like that. And that's it. But at the end of the day, I could still respectfully talk to that person. I could still pick up the phone and say, hey, or whatever, instead of making that person an enemy, you know? Yeah, I say Rose, she got some qualities. Don't worry. She got some qualities at work in certain aspects. Now, Rose a little dinky in some other spaces, but when it comes to like just sitting back and letting the man be and listen to his story, Rose is good at that. You know what I'm saying? So if you blend some of that with Deonna's personality, it starts to balance out. That's all I'm saying. Those people need to work with other people to get their balance. Y'all don't like y'all some Rose, boy, I tell y'all.
Yeah, they got cut by the thorns this week. They on Rose, but there's a way to say certain things, and Sean, you may dislike me with this one. I'm like Deonna, and don't call me, when I'm, being paid for a job from 8 to 5. But there's a way to say that. There's a way to say that in the dating realm that is okay, because certainly Mr. Stalson was okay with it, and he's still okay with it. So it's like you can speak and say, you know what, I'm not comfortable. I'm in my zone at work. Text me before you call. You could say something like that, but don't don't call me. I don't take calls. And it's like, stop being rough around the edges. This is not one of your trainees. This is not one of the young men that you're trying to build into firefighters. Gently say, hey, I appreciate a call, but the job just isn't conducive for that. You could say something like that.
Any thoughts on Diona and Hussein?
That's a good point, though,
Yes,
Elsie. But Coach said it earlier in his live. She's sitting there saying it might be days you don't talk to me or whatever, stuff like that. But if you're a good communicator, there's time that there's some downtime in there that you can slide a text and say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I'm just, what I'm saying, like I ain't got much time, but you on my mind and stuff. But tell me that you ain't gonna be talking to me for days, child. Is unless you fighting for the fires, hands on for days. Ain't no reason that you can't holler at me at some point. So 24 hours is a long time for you not to be able to send some kind of message to me to let me know that you are still okay.
Why is she looking for a man? Why does she want a man? She don't seem like she want a man. I'm just
What
saying.
she want?
I don't know. I don't know what type of man she want because I mean, it seems like she want, on one hand she want somebody 6'4" masculine, but on the other hand she want a little biatch. So at first I'm like, maybe you should be with a little biatch, but I'm like, that ain't really what she want. But then she wants somebody 6'4" tall, masculine, but they're not gonna put up with that type of energy. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what she wants. It don't sound like she's looking for any version of a man. I don't know. I don't even know if she's looking for any version of a human. I'm not sure. But if you're grown in your 30s and you talking about, you can't pick up your phone and say hello, you need not to be dating.
She needs to communicate. I mean, I know with fire training, they are gone, some of them for weeks at a time to the training facilities. That doesn't mean you can't speak to the person, but it's also delivery. But, I need to know what her definition of masculine man is. Because, as brass as I am, Mr. El Cid is a gentle giant. So I don't think she understands that maybe a gentle giant, like Hussein, and we don't know him completely, may be exactly what she needs. I think I need to know what is Deonna's ideal? Because it's sounding like exactly it sounded like I want somebody to handle me. And I'm like, girl, no, no, no.
Yeah, I mean, I there's parts of her that sounds like, I mean, it sounds like she just wants a man to fold into her lifestyle and somebody that already just agrees with everything that she's saying, because she doesn't seem to tolerate any level of disagreement at all. You know, as soon as Hussein started to offer any counterpoints, she shut down and she said, she closed them. She was like, "So, how do you think about us? Like, what do you think? What are your thoughts?" And he was like, "I don't think we're, I would say we're not compatible." She said, "I agree." And she did the same thing with the other guy that she felt was shorter than her. Forget his name, Cam, I think. So she's a very closed off person, and I think she's going to be hard pressed finding the kind of person that she's looking for, because she wants somebody, this archetype of very masculine and all these things. Is that kind of energy going to match her energy? Because to me, I think if she bumps up against somebody that has all those characteristics, they're probably going to not get along, and they are likely not going to want somebody that carries that much energy, which is probably why she's found herself struggling in relationships, because she's asking for something but she doesn't understand the consequences of what that is. Right, you want somebody super masculine, but that typically comes with somebody that's going to challenge you. They're going to want things their particular way, want to, shape and mold you also to a certain extent. And she has a very clear idea of what she wants, and she wants it to be this way. So I think she just needs to scrap all these terms, scrap what she wants, and look for somebody that can complement her. Look for somebody that can work with her. My 2 cents.
I like it. All right, cool. Let's move it on then, and let's talk about another couple that happened as well. Obviously, let's talk about. We'll talk about Naeem first. So he black, but you know what time it is.